Well, joining us in the studio to speak on the life and times of late President Muhammadu Buhari is a former minister of his cabinet, Olorunibe Mamora. I intentionally did not introduce you with the portfolio because you were minister twice under the Buhari administration. First it was health, and then there was a cabinet shake-up in 2022 when you then became Minister of Science and Technology. Welcome to the news. Thank you for being here. Let's start with that decision to shake up his cabinet, and then you were thrown from health, which is your field as a doctor, to science and tech. How did that come to you? Did you know about it ahead before the president took the decision?
I never did. We were just there in the cabinet meeting, and the announcement just came like that. So it was very, very surprising, so to speak. But then, of course, service is service, irrespective of what area the service is. And I remain grateful for that.
Well, talk to us more about that service, how you served him. I mean, we heard from the former Chief of Defense Staff, Lucky Rabo, saying he never knew the president never knew him, but he was appointed CDS. And there's been so much talk about how the president, then, you know, late President Buhari, would not interfere.
Hands off.
Yeah, he was, you know, hands off totally. He didn't micro manage. Talk to us about that. Would you say in hindsight that it was counterproductive? Was it taken advantage of by ministers in a way that maybe it may have affected, you know, their performance and what have you?
Well, unlike what the Chief of Defense Staff did say regarding how he was just appointed, but for me, I had worked with him earlier in the capacity of the Deputy Director General of his presidential campaign in 2015 and also in 2019 before I was brought aboard. So I had some kind of, I was very close to him. I even worked with him even before he was elected in the primaries, because I worked with him while we were wooing delegates to the national the nomination convention in Lagos. So, and it's quite true that General Buhari gave whoever he appointed free hand to operate. And of course, believing and expecting that having entrusted you with that office, that you will do the best for the country within the ambit of your own capacity and ability as well. So, no micromanaging, as it was rightly put. And well, if you, but knowing fully well that if you did something wrong, you are on your own. You are on your own. So that was what, you know, he was in terms of approach to rendering service and appointing people in positions of authority.
Okay. On the valedictory Federal Executive Council meeting, you gave a tribute. That tribute has now resurfaced because people are beginning to see a side of Buhari, the late president, that they didn't see through your tribute that is now making the rounds. You talked about how you're a part of his legacy team.
Yeah.
How would you describe that legacy for what he did and what perhaps he did not accomplish? And then you talked about the very jocular side of the president. The remarks he made during the Federal Executive Council, for instance, at one moment you said he talked about the Minister of Transportation who wanted to be a part of a committee in the interior, and he said construction, and he said no, you can't be there. Or the Minister of Police who wanted to be part of road construction, he said you do not need roadblocks, or perhaps you've gone for a roadblock. Now he was trying to call the minister's attention, if I get it correctly. The Minister of Police Affairs was at FEG. They called him severally, he did not pay attention, and then the president said perhaps he's gone for roadblocks.
You know what really happened then was it was during COVID. And I remember, I think you were also a correspondent or something there. Right.
Yes.
It was during COVID where we had this physical, you know, hybrid, physical and online.
Virtual, yes.
So it was ministers that had memos to present that will be there physically, while others will be online. And then the Minister of Police Affairs had indicated to comment on a particular memo. And at the appropriate time, Mr. President called the minister to, to give his comment on that memo. And about 2, 3, 4 times, the Minister of Police Affairs was not showing up. So, and then Mr. President said maybe he had gone for roadblock. And then that of the Minister of Interior, well, I think there was a road project that Mr. President wanted kind of attention on, and so a cabinet committee was set up. And the Minister of Interior, that was Rauf Aregbesola, wanted to be a member of that committee for whatever reasons. Well, he had been Commissioner of Works for 8 years in Lagos, so probably he felt he had some experience to bring into it. And he was so energetic in trying to be part of that. And then Mr. President said, look, Minister of Interior, we don't need passport for road construction. So he had a very huge, and I mean huge, sense of humor, unknown to a lot of people. But for those who are privileged to be close enough to him, like I had been, like I said, way back, even before his election, I had been with him to woo candidates, to woo party members to vote for him at the primaries we had in Lagos. So I had seen that part of him so much.
Legacy.
Right.
Legacy.
Now, legacy, of course. For example, look at the second Niger bridge that had been there for over 20 years, and he completed it and ensured that. Because they call it the revolution in terms of our airports. There's so many airports, so many road constructions and all that. Those were legacy projects that President Buhari put in place. And those things, of course, they eternally stand to his credit.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, you were Minister of State for Health. How many years were you there?
About 3 years.
About 3 years.
Last year I was moved to science
before you went
innovation.
to, science and technology.
Yeah.
And I'm sure many Nigerians would, believe that within 3 years, Nigeria really should have been able to proudly say that it has a global or international standard, health system that could have taken care of the president when he was ill and other, political leaders. Why was it that even up till now, our leaders, including our head of state, our president, trusts, foreign health systems above theirs? What exactly is fundamentally wrong? Was it a distrust for the health sector in Nigeria? What exactly?
Well, you must appreciate the fact that we had years of accumulated decay. And when I say accumulated decay, it's real accumulated decay. And coupled with, that's an issue, coupled with, you see, the who does not make the monk.
Right.
Even at the state level, you have so many former governors that had put in place big hospitals, but the functionality is in doubt. Because I said the who does not make the monk, because it's not just the physical structure that matters. You need the personnel. You need the support structures and all that to be there before you can have optimally functional system. Then don't forget again that we had COVID to deal with. In fact, COVID was, to the best of my own assessment, it was a blessing in disguise because our hospital and health institutions, they were beefed up. We had so many things that we were able to do.
Yeah, beefed up, but not to the level that our president could make use of.
Well, if you say,
and what's your response to? I mean, I'd like you to land on that. Femi Adesina, former spokesman to the president, actually said that if President Buhari had used Nigeria's health system, that maybe he would have been long dead before now.
Well, may not necessarily be so, because it's not that we don't have some very good, personnel, but possibly not adequate enough to really put things together. We have so many hospitals, specialty hospitals, teaching hospitals and all that. But how about the functionality in terms of staff, in terms of equipment, in terms of other support structures that will make the system work the way it should? So these are the things. Not necessarily, so we have very, very, very good brains, Nigerians who are not here, but they are over there and doing extremely well.
Many of them left here because the facilities were not there for them to work.
Not just
Many
the
of them
question
jumped.
The conditions were
conditions were not there.
The pay.
It's not just the conditions of the facilities, but the pay. It's important.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, people want to survive.
Yeah.
So that's, has to be addressed in terms of adequate remuneration for the health workers. Don't forget again, medical care is a team event. So all the specialties, they have to be there, medical and non-medical, and work together to ensure that we have what is best for the country.
Right. Mr. Nimbe Mamora, thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight tonight. Double cap minister of the late President Muhammadu Buhari. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for inviting me.